Welcome to another episode of Bleachers and Boards, brought to you by the Hoop Heads Podcast. I'm Marlon Guild, and of course, I got my co-host with me, Matt Collier. Matt, what's happening, brother?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
All good, all good. So we got a nice one today. Y'all actually double teaming me tonight. Straight Queens in here, man.
That's right.
You know, we got Rob Jones, head coach of the Norfolk State Spartans men's basketball team. Rob, pleasure to have you on. Appreciate you taking out the time to come be with us, man.
Thanks for having me, man. You know, y'all my guys from way back now. You know, I know Matt, I guess, over a decade now.
Yeah,
you know? And you too, Mal. So, you know, it was no problem to jump on this. I jump on everything else. Why can't I jump on my guys' podcast? You know, so
appreciate that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt, man. So we're gonna kind of jump right into it. So, like I said, you know, Rob's a Queens guy, and you know, before we go into the basketball portion, you know, I know you well. You know, obviously Matt knows you well, but for other people that don't know you too well, you know, why don't you just spit something for the people, man, about who Rob Jones is as a person and as a basketball coach?
Like you said, you know, Rob Jones, he's from Southside Jamaica, Queens.
Stand up.
Born and raised. Came to Virginia in 2007. But, I've had a long journey to get to this point. You know, a lot of people, you know, journey is different. I didn't grow up with much. You know, I lived in housing projects for a little bit, and I had a single mom family, and I never envisioned about being a coach. You know, when you're growing up, you think about trying to play to be the best possible player you can be, so you can change the situation. So, I was, played basketball. I didn't play at Division I school. I played at Division III school. I was able to make Division III All-American after my junior year, so I had a pretty good career up there. I had a chance to go play in France in the fourth division, but I didn't go because they said it was $1,800 a month. This was back in 2001, so I guess $1,800 was a little different than it is now. But it was $1,800 a month. But I had to teach English as well as play basketball. And I just said, hey, man, I think I could make $800 a month, in the States instead of going all the way across the country. I mean, across the world, really. So I stayed, and then as I actually finished up my studies, and what was that? I don't know what that was. But as I finished up my studies at SUNY New Paltz, the assistant coach of New Paltz, Greg Dixon, actually got a head coaching job at Bard College, which is in Kingston, New York. And he asked me to come over there and volunteer just to really practice with the guys, because I was still in pretty good shape and the team really wasn't that good. So he wanted just to have a good player play against them to show them how it's done or something. I don't know really. But it went from that to doing scouting reports and practice plans and recruiting, and then I'm sitting on the bench with a shirt and tie, and then the next thing I know, they calling me Coach Jones. So it's like, I was like, what happened here? You know, so he kind of suckered me into coaching. And then I went to SUNY New Paltz, and I coached there for 2 years. And then I went to St. Mary's, Long Island. Tim Cluse was the head coach there. He gave me my first opportunity to be a head coach. He gave me the opportunity to be a freshman head coach there. And that was through a total interview. I had no idea who Tim Cluse was. He had no idea who Rob Jones was. We just, hit it off in the interview. And he gave me the freshman head coaching position. And then when he went on to college, Suffolk Community College, I was able to be the varsity head coach for 2 years. And then I came down to Norfolk when Anthony Evans got the head coaching job here. He was also another one of my assistants at SUNY New Paltz. And he had said, if he ever got a job, he would call me, and you know how that goes. He's like, yeah, okay, all right, whatever, yeah, I hear you, right? And then, but he actually, he got the job, and he actually, reached out to me, and I came down on my official visit to Norfolk State, and I liked it because I thought it was going to see cows and stuff running around, because when you're in New York, you got that mentality that nothing is better than New York, everything else sucks, and stuff like that. So you know, I thought it was gonna be red dirt and cows down here, but it's nowhere close to that. It's like really city-like. You know, I live in Virginia Beach, you know, whatever, which is 15 minutes away from Norfolk. So, you know, it's very city-like, and I did 6 years as an assistant there. I'm up here, and then he moved on in 2013, and then I was able to get the head job, and I'm going into my 8th season now as head coach and 14th overall at Norfolk State, 21st overall as a basketball coach.
Yeah, and you're having a lot of success down there, winning a lot of games, doing a lot of great things, and it's been great to see. So that's awesome. And we actually had on one of our first episodes, we talked about Coach Kluse, and
We're not doing that. We are not talking about Tim Kluse tonight. Man. It's all about Rob Jones. And
that's right. That's right.
I'll say this, man. Like Rob's our guy. He's being very modest about living 15 minutes away in Virginia Beach. I'm going to give a quick story. I'm down in Virginia Beach on vacation, and it's during the finals. So he just calls me like, yo, you in the area? I said, yeah. Yo, why don't you come over to my house, come watch the game? I think it was, Rob, I don't even know if you remember this. This was the Spurs versus Miami. I think this got to be 2014, 15, I forget exactly. So he said, yo, come over to my house and watch the game. So I'm like, all right, cool. I don't mind. I ain't got nothing else to do. So I don't know if you remember MTV Cribs when they used to have the celebrities come to the door and they say, welcome to my crib. Yo, so Rob comes to the door and he lets me in. I'm like, yo, this is your house?
It's got crazy, man.
I'm not going to even lie to you, Matt, and I know Rob don't remember this, right? Man, I ain't going to lie. I sat down in that nice reclining couch. I don't even know if you still have the reclining couch.
I got a different one now. I got a different one.
See, he got a different one now. He went in a lot of games over there at Norfolk. He got
life is good.
Yo, I sat down on the recliner and we watching the game. Matt, I ain't gonna even lie to you. I forgot what the score was of the game. I didn't care. I didn't want to go back to my hotel. I just wanted to stay in the recliner couch, man. I'm like, yo, this is great. Like, it was leather. It was cream. I was just, yo, they went in a lot of games at Norfolk State for you to have this kind of couch. Now, I never said that till now, but, yo, when he opened up the door, he was like, yo, what's up, man? Welcome to the crib.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Life is good.
Yo.
I like to hear that. I like to hear that. My brother's living good down there. That's good stuff. That's what's up.
I remember that, Ma. I remember that. You know, I like when you brought the story, I remember it vividly. But I actually forgot about that. Like, you know, until you brought it up. But yo, that's definitely a true story now about the MTV Cribs. but you know, the sitting there watching the game and all that, yeah, that actually happened. You know, don't let them fool you with that nonsense.
You know, that's kind of, you know, what led us to this. And you know, we talk often off air, just, you know, with your accomplishments, man, and obviously the journey that you took to get to this point. You know, now some would say the hardest part is staying there, you know, and being consistent and being a champion at the top of the league in the MEAC. But, you know, for you, man, what are some things, I guess, on the court that you like to do to, you know, have the Norfolk State Spartans be one of the top teams in the MEAC conference?
I mean, some of the things that I like to do. I mean, first, I think it starts with, like, you know, pillars that you have of your program. You know, we got something called dialed. You know, a lot of people say dialed in. You know, and they say, you dialed in. You know, whatever. It's supposed to be like everybody 100%. You know, 10 toes in and stuff like that. But our dialed is like an acronym though, and it's like D is for discipline. I think you gotta have discipline approach. You know, offensively and defensively to have success on the court, and of course off the court too. I is for intensity. You know, you got to have some intensity on the court. A is for accountability. You know, everyone needs to be accountable for each other. L is for leadership. I think anybody could be a leader, not just the captains. You know, captains are just a vote, you know, that you have. but that doesn't mean the next guy can't be a captain. Doesn't mean a new guy can't be a captain, or a freshman can't be a leader, I should say. And then E is for excitement. I think that, now I guess Division I just expanded, right, with a couple more teams. So now it's 357 teams in Division I. To be a player on one of those 357 teams you should be excited about that. No matter what's going on. Like I said, I played D3 basketball. I didn't even play D2 basketball. I played D3 basketball, and I guess, sometimes people joke with me to say, well, you was an All-American at D3, you could have played D1, and yeah, probably, I probably could have, but I didn't. So, it's like, you should be excited about playing Division I basketball. And then D is just for dedication. I mean, you got to have dedication to the craft, to the team, to everything, to like really have success. And we try to brainwash those pillars into our guys. We also try to brainwash just competitive nature into them. We have something called the winner's circle, and it's like a chart that we keep from the time we start conditioning to all the way up to the really the first game. And we chart every like for example, if we have 14 guys on the team, it's just you got 14 names just listed, and every time you win a sprint or something like that, you get like, say it's a 2-point, a 2-point sprint or one, whatever it is, you get 2 points on that chart, you get 3 points on that chart or whatever. You get, if we do shell drill, we might say the winning team gets 10 points and stuff like that. So we know a lot of times people in conditioning are like great runners, but maybe, some of your better basketball players are not the best, runners, so like, wow. We try to make it fair for everybody. So a lot of people get some points in those, in the running aspect. And then when it gets to the court, a lot of times people are able to balance it out. So it's really like the cream rises to the top, and then what we say is that like only like the first 9, and I'm a stickler to it. I don't really care who you are. Only the first 9 guys on that chart is going to play in the first scrimmage. I don't care what it is. I don't care. So it's like one of your better players might be, let's say number 10. Now you will hope he's not number 10 because you will hope he has a competitive fire in him. But if he's number 10, he won't play. And we've had this happen before, like not maybe our best player, but like a guy that probably would start, or maybe 2 guys that would start, right, that didn't play. And like that next practice is like war because they're like so embarrassed and so, mad that they didn't play. But it's like, I tell them all the time that talent is talent, but you got to want to compete. And if you don't want to compete in those sprints, you don't want to compete in the shell drill, you don't want to compete in the rebounding drills, or to get the points where that I'm telling you that you're not going to play unless you're on this top 9, or whatever, then how can I trust you to go compete to win a game? So, we do that for the second scrimmage too, and sometimes that top 9 changes, because like guys get fired up. Whoever that top 9 is going to play. And then when we get to the first game, whoever is in that rotation is who I play. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care if we playing Mississippi. I don't care if we playing Kentucky. I don't care if we playing St. Thomas Aquinas or whoever, and I know they're a good program, but it's like I'm just using anybody, like I don't really care. It's like the first 9 is going to play. And then like people, they, the next day after that usually practices a war, because like that bench is an equalizer, man, and I tell guys all the time, you don't have the competitive nature, you can't play. So, and also in that winner circle, we do, like every week, whoever's the top 9 per week, maybe this week you get, your 2 T-shirts, you get, whatever, what I'm saying? And we keep like a list and a tally, by the end of the year, everybody got all types of crazy stuff, but, keep it, like that. So the people that's left at the top 9, they might see, and if you consistently left at the top 9 for the first couple of weeks, you might not have 1 piece of gear while everybody else got 6 T-shirts and tights and stuff like that. You might not have anything. So, it really like fires guys up. But then as the year goes on, I don't give them anything unless we win. So after every win, we get something. So every win, like maybe you get your sneaker, sneaker 1, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you get jacket 1, sneaker 2 is after the 3rd win, stuff like that. And that's how I just keep it, to keep that competitive edge the whole time.
I like that. Now with the winner's circle, does it reset at any point? So say so wherever you start at the beginning of the year, that's like you have to get really, really, really catch up in order to get into that 9. Yeah,
you have to do it. And also there are academic components to that too. Like if you miss study hall, it's -10, on that. If you miss a class, it's -10. If you're late for a class, it's -5. So it is like, ways that people do drop and stuff like that. And of course, injuries, like somebody could be injured. It could be number 1, be injured for a whole week or 2. and the guy that was number 10 is now on his heels, and the one that went to like 5 or 6 or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But also the thing I tell people too is that, like, and my assistant coaches get on me for this. Jamal Brown gets on me all the time about it because he said he's never seen it like this in his life. You know, he was like that. You know, he's like, you're the fairest coach I ever seen in my life because I really take to heed, like, when I say that you guys are going to decide playing time, you guys are going to decide playing time. You know what I'm saying? It's all up to y'all. Now, the thing that I do say is that I'm going to give whoever earned that top 9 and gets their shot, you got your shot, man. It's up to you to keep it, though, because if you don't do the right things, then I'm going to play number 10 eventually. I'm going to play number 11. I'm going to play number 12. But if the top 9 keeps their spot, then, I mean, I'll never play the other 5. But a lot of times there are some guys that might be like those fringe bench players that do make it in the top 9 early, and then they might not perform as well. So then that number 10, you know, who might be a better basketball player, ends up finally getting his chance. And honestly, he's been chomping at the bit to get his chance. So he goes out there, performs like off the charts for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it all balances itself out, you know, or whatever. And that's just one of the tricks that we use. So like I said, just brainwash winning. You know, like, you know, if you don't win, if you don't compete, you can't, you know, like, you're not no good for us, man. You know, so we just got to do that to brainwash winning. And that's how, you know, we've been successful beating some, not just MEAC opponents, but some bigger opponents, you know, as well. Because, I mean, we got, you know, a long list of non-conference wins. You know, it's not like all the wins we have is just against the MEAC. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, I think there's a lot of good underrated teams and coaches and players in the MEAC. You know, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But I think that people just think that, like, you know, they see like the 125 wins. They think all 125 is against the MEAC. Like, we don't even play that many games, man. Like, you know, there's no way possible to have 125 wins against the MEAC. You know, so that's just one of the things that we use, man.
I'm gonna just say this, so the listeners will be able to hear this on the podcast, but the viewers, when y'all go to YouTube and see this, Rob's being real modest right now, talking about these wins. And he made sure, he said it wasn't just against the MEAC teams. They got some heavy hitter wins out there. And he's being real modest. But, you know, when you see this on YouTube, you're going to see it in his eyes that he's talking his talk right now, pretty much. That's what he's doing. He's talking his talk, and you can hear it. And if you watch this on YouTube, you're definitely going to get to see that. But, you know, now, man, talk your talk with that clipboard. You know, what's something that you guys like to run on the offensive end that, you know, without giving your playbook up, you know, just something that you know you can run that it don't even matter what the opponent do. They know they can't stop it anyway, if you don't mind.
I mean, honestly, I could probably do what we talked about. I could share the screen, you know, of a couple plays.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's check it out.
Screen. I actually had something defensively already queued up, so I'll do that and come back to the offense. Like, you know, obviously it'll be quick because I know we already talked about doing a whole coaching clinic on the podcast. So we better not do a coaching clinic on the podcast. but one thing that we do here that causes disruption is we trap ball screens. A lot of people don't trap ball screens. You know, a lot of people think that players are too good, you know, to trap ball screens because they can split and all types of stuff like that. Now we also do other coverage. You know, we do like the blue and the hedge, or, you know, whatever. But our signature is really trapping the ball screens, and we practice that pretty much all the time. You know, it causes a lot of disruption, more disruption than you think. I do have some clips queued up, so you can see that's not going to be against the MEAC. You're going to see some high-level opponents turning the ball over like hotcakes.
Coach Rob, talk your talk, man.
And you're going to be able to see that in the clips, that there's some high-level opponents turning the ball over. I think that, you know, the last few years we finished top 35 in the country with defensive field goal percentage. So, and last year we actually finished top 25 in turnovers forced. And we don't do a lot of pressing, but we just do a lot of like half-court trapping. Like, we'll trap the post, we'll trap ball screens. You know, we're not doing 40 minutes of hell or anything like that, but that half court, we're going to cause some disruption. So I'll just go into those clips real quick here. Hopefully it comes up nice and easy. Did that come up nice and easy?
So far, so good.
Yep.
Hold on, so I don't know if that's something about, I got to put in the password of shit. Zoom audios. Wait a second here. Hold on one second. Actually, Ma, this is the offensive stuff. I'm gonna go back real quick. Hold on a second.
Okay,
Here.
that's fine.
That was you talked that into existence. The offensive stuff. I gotta stop this share. You know, I should be like super Zoom friendly. All the Zoom calls that gets done, but you know, hey, whatever.
You hot right now with the Zoom. That's why we were happy to get you on. You know,
absolutely.
Yeah, Zoom is crazy. All right, you should see that. You see like some red and white jerseys.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, we're gonna just go all the way back. All right, we call it red on the ball screens. All right. You know, I had to throw in the arena mall because, you know, people think that we play in some YMCA gym or something. You know, and we don't play in the YMCA, baby. You know, so you know.
I've been in there a few times. That's a nice place. Real nice arena.
All right. Ball right here. We'll have the bottom guy. We'll try to. He actually did a bad job of loading to the ball.
Hold on one second, Rob. Turn your volume down on the quick time.
Okay, there we go. All right. So we tried. He actually did a bad job of loading to the ball, but we want to load to the ball on this trap. He did a good job of recovery right here. So we have another steal right here. Okay, now once again it's against Ole Miss, SEC opponent. All right, trapping the ball screen. Okay, rotating over, steal.
Now, is it always the weak side low man that's taking the role and keep the strong side guy?
Weak side low man, and everyone else is going. Like, we're gonna load to the ball as much as possible, leaving the furthest pass away, open. So right here we got another one. I mean, he just coughs it up, and we're off to the races. Here's another one, and we're gonna right here is an example. We're gonna stay in the trap, and you'll see everybody loading towards the trap. So right here, we're going to stay in the trap. Even though he's going backwards, we're going to stay in the trap. Everyone, as you can notice, is loading up towards the trap, leaving this guy, open over there. But panic happens, and still. Once again, loading towards the trap. Everyone's up right here, kind of zoning up, like 14, and I think that's 34, like zoning up right here, loading towards the trap, and then turnover.
So now, just a question for you, Rob. When you guys trap the ball screen, and for our listeners, you can trap anywhere on the court, I guess, above the three-point line, and you just have guys zoning up. Do you guys have a call for that? Like, is it shrinking the court, or, is there anything you call your zone ups for the other guys while the trap is happening?
We just say just load to the ball as much as you can. That's all. So we just kind of keep it simple. We'll just load to the ball.
And for loading to the ball, that means just keep everybody on the high side in between their man and the ball, instead of playing behind, obviously, and just be basically in between the ball and the man.
Correct. And we try not to necessarily just fully take away the panic pass. Trying to read a little bit, because you are zoning up. I think in this clip right here, we actually do take away the panic pass. Like right now, number 0 is right here at the bottom, is taking away the panic pass. He shouldn't necessarily be doing that per se. We want him close to his guy, but he took it away, and it worked out for us because now when he tried to throw it out the trap, he actually got the steal.
So that was a trap in the high slot area. Okay.
Yep. So then we got another one right here, another trap, and you'll see 22 loading up. You'll see 14 left his man over there. Number 4 left his guy too to load towards the basketball. And now we have a sprint out of it. So we sprint, and then we'll trap again.
So it's trap inside ball screens here.
Now, what are the teaching points for the trappers when they're sprinting out? Who are they going to? What are your rules as far as that?
Well, we always try to make sure that the guys fight over the screen.
Right.
We never want to go under the screen, because honestly, if you go under, if you're trying to trap, you're probably never going to, get the trap.
Right, we'll get there.
We also talk about not charging the trap, like almost closing out a little bit. So, because, you know, if you try to charge it or blast it, or, you know, people use different terminology, good ball handlers will just go right by you, you know. But so we'll close out to the trap, and then after we close out to the trap, then we'll close the trap, and we'll try to make sure that we're like in an L shape on the closeout. And then after that, everyone else loads up to the ball and, you know, try to make something happen with a turnover. And then right here, this is against Northwestern, you know, Big Ten opponent. And he comes with the ball screen. We catch him right here. He turns around. He's spooked. He throws it to the 5th row.
That's off a slot ball screen, so you guys still were able to get some good action out of that.
And even right here, this is a naked side ball screen. And we're still able to trap it, you know, high hands in the trap, get a deflection, and it's a steal.
Now, do you guys have a set number of deflections you're trying to get?
20 per half.
Okay.
Wow.
I get 20 per half to make sure we show activity. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Ma. A lot of times we don't get 40 for the game, but we might get 29, 30, you know, something like that. Like, I think only one time we've ever got 40 for the game, but we just try to make that a set goal just to keep them active, you know, and we'll, you know, I'll talk about us not achieving that goal at the end of the game to try to just keep it in their head about this is what we want. So right here is another trap, high hands. You can see 14 is shooting the gap. Number 4 on the bottom is loading up to the ball. 5 is actually close to his guy, ready to panic pass. And he just took it. Right here against Stony Brook. Trap right here. He picked up the ball. You know, we're high hands, we're active. You see 15 is loading to the ball. 22 on the bottom is loading. 34 is looking at the ball, trying to read his eyes. And he just travels. And that's a turnover. So that's our red pick and roll defense right there.
Now let me ask you this. So, you know, clearly, like you said, on the traps, you try to get the L shape. But now, how long does it take for the loading up to the ball, like just teaching that? So obviously, you know, the principles that you start with from your first day of practice, at what point do you say, like, okay, we've got it? Because, you know, sometimes it might take half a year to really get good at your trapping ball screens where everybody's on a string together. But for you, when do you guys start to teach that? And at what point do you think you see a difference that, hey, they're finally starting to get this?
I think we teach just, honestly, we teach just regular hedge first, honestly, because we just want to talk about pick and roll rotations. You know, who's the tag man, like Matt said, and stuff like that. So we talk about just regular pick and roll rotations. And then we also do pick and roll breakdowns. Like, we'll do 10 screens in a row just up top of a guy constantly screening you and just keep hitting the guard, basically, because we want to make sure that guard is tough enough to fight through. So usually after getting hit 10 times, and, you know, if he doesn't fight through, it doesn't count. Like, repeated, you know, drills of that, I mean, it makes the guards a little tougher. Like, they don't want to get screened. They're not going to get screened, you know, and stuff like that. So that, I mean, that's a big part of it too. Then after that, we'll talk about that red, you know, pick and roll situation, and we'll talk about, like, loading to the ball. And then, like, because we do it so much, you know, we do it in shell drill, and sometimes that kind of pisses some of our guys off in shell drill because they can't come off the pick and roll to do anything. But, you know, shell drills for defense anyway. So it's like, you know, hey, offensively, try to figure it out, you know. So we'll talk about it in shell. Like, every shell drill is always usually ready to pick and roll unless we're practicing for a specific scout. Like, say if we know we want to change it up and, like, ice the guy or something like that, then we'll make our shell drill for, like, maybe 3 days before that, just strictly ice on the shell drill, you know, something like that. But for us, we read automatically under 10 seconds, no matter what. So even if we are in a regular ball screen coverage or ice coverage, you know, when it's 10 seconds or less, no matter what coverage we've been doing, like, on anybody, it's going to be automatic red. So because we really feel like teams really panic when it's 10 seconds. Like, a guy's is getting trapped, he's retreating dribble, he's trying to make the next pass, we got him scrambling. It's usually, I mean, you'd be amazed, man. And I'm sometimes amazed on the sideline. I'm not going to lie to you guys, is that in college basketball, Division I basketball, to get shot clock violations. Like, I mean, we'll get sometimes multiple per game against an array of opponents. And you're like, I remember before looking at something that Shaka said about when he was at VCU with pressing. And he was like, that a lot of people are scared to press people because they're like, the other guy's going to be too good, stuff like that. And he was like that, anybody will turn over the ball. No matter who they are, they will turn over the ball. Some teams are going to turn it over more than others, but anybody will turn over the ball. And I fully believe that with the Red, that I feel like there are a lot of amazing guards throughout the country, but they'll flick it to you too when some pressure is applied.
Right.
Coach, let me ask you one question, and without giving too much away, right? Because we don't want to give this away to your opponents. But what would you say is effective versus the Red that maybe you have to emphasize a little bit more for your team to look out for? Like, when teams are able to break it down, what is the things that you are somewhat effective that you might have to adjust to?
I mean, that's why we talk about the loading so much, because I think short rolls are effective.
Okay.
I think if you can short roll out of a trap, then you got some 3-on-2 probably on the backside and stuff like that, which is trouble. So that's why we try to load up to try to like be as close as we can to some of those passes to, get steals, as you probably, some deflections as you saw in the video, just to take away that short roll action. I think that's an action that does hurt. But what's so funny is that the guys will short roll and shell after a while, like we'll talk about pick and roll offense. After 5 days of the guys turn the ball over, every play on a pick and roll trap, we got to talk about some pick and roll offense, right? So it's like, we talk about short rolls in the pick and roll offense. But the crazy thing is that most teams that we play don't short roll. Like, they just keep rolling their guy all the way to the basket, and we just standing there waiting for a steal. Like, it's really like, amazing. And I will say that I hope you guys, get 1 million views on this, but I hope you don't either, because it's like, like, people are not even thinking about this, about short rolling, and stuff. Like, they just keep rolling their guys to the basket. It's like, that's not going to work. So we just at one point during the year, we had like a stretch in non-conference that we were getting 23 turnovers per game for like 5 games straight.
Wow.
It was like,
and it's also probably because now you're relying on your 5 or your 4 man who may not be as comfortable handling the ball and have to make a pass or make a decision, to now you're forcing him to be in that position to make plays because the guard doesn't have the ball. If you do throw it to the short roll guy, now you're forcing the big guy to be a playmaker instead of a play finisher.
Without question. And the thing that I like to have too, and I know, well, Marlon, hell, Matt, you've been out the league so long, so I was like, I forget that we coached against each other. I forget about that. But Ma, we just played Ma a couple years ago. I'm still mad about that game because, he won the game or whatever. But it's like, I got him at St. Peter's though, Matt.
Okay, you got it. Okay, all right.
Hey, I'm going off on a sidebar on this, right? So the game at St. Peter's. So it's funny he said that he's still mad about the game he lost us at Ryder. I'm still upset about the game we lost to them when I was at St. Peter's. And more so, I'm going to tell you why. And he brought this up, and I was going to save it for the end. It was the championship game for like one of those
the Barclays Center Classic.
Yeah. Okay.
Classic. So we playing at St. Peter's, and I'm trying to remember. I think this is when you still had the young
Jeff Short.
Jeff Short. So the game's close, and I'm like, all right, man, we're gonna win this game. And so we call a timeout, right? And I don't know if you remember Travis Hester in the game. Now, Travis Hester hears this. I'm sorry, man. You cost us that game. And I'm going to tell you now. So,
after you finish your story, Ma, I'm going to tell you who really cost you that game. I'm going to tell you. Hey, okay, I'm going to tell you who cost you the
game. We can get into it. So, Rob comes out, and they're in this 2-3 zone. And we're like, they're going to go zone again because we had watched the film on them. So somehow, like he said, he has some stuff up his sleeve. So they get into this 2-3 zone, and we have the ball at the top of the key. Now, this is in front of our bench. We have the ball at the top of the key. I want to say we might have been up 1 with like 2 minutes, probably under 2 minutes. and we throw the ball to Travis Hester on the left wing, who's like our shooter. And Rob sends the guy that was guarding the ball and the wing guy in the 2-3, and they trap. We had never seen that before. And Travis Hester gave the ball up for a layup, and they win the game. But that's not what made me mad. What made me mad was, you know, when you got the handshake line.
Oh, he didn't do that.
You shake.
He didn't do that.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you what he did.
do?
He gave me like one of them daps, like good game, and then like hit me with the Derek Harper push.
Nah. Right?
I thought you was gonna say he slapped you on the butt.
Nah.
Like, good game, coach.
It was one of those. He's like, Mark, good game, and then eased me up. Yo, where the trophy at? I was like, wow.
Oh man.
Let me tell you, Mark. That's a good story. You know, now he is absolutely right about the trapping zone, because we kind of held that till we played them or whatever. And but they was actually up more. It was like 5 or 6, and we went into like 3 possessions in a row. We trapped the top 1 possession, and we trapped the wings 2 possessions in a row, and was able to get like turnovers. Like you said, from Hester, we got like, I think it was more than just 1 turnover. We got like 2 or 3 turnovers from him, and then we did go up to the races and, you know, got a layup, you know, and 1 or something to put us up. But this is what happened before the game, Matt. All right, let me tell you what happened before the game. Right, we played St. Francis the night before, St. Francis Brooklyn, right?
Okay.
In like the semifinals or whatever, right? You know, it's a 14 tournament, so the semifinals, right? You know what I mean?
Got it.
So we beat them, right? So we know we're gonna play we play in St. Peter's now in the championship. The third place's game is going on between Tennessee State and St. Francis Brooklyn, right? Okay. I see Serge Clements, if he sees, and I know he will see this. So, hi, Serge, but Serge, this is what happened, right? He said, yo, this is my scout. And he said, y'all run a lot of stuff for a MEAC team. I was like, oh, really? So I told my guys that. I told my guys that in the locker room. I told my staff that. And they was like, what? They was like, okay, all right, we see what it is. All right, so they were fired up to play, man.
For the listeners, this is the first time I'm hearing this story. Wow.
That's exactly.
Well, let that be a lesson to all the young coaches, and
he said, yeah,
don't do stuff like that.
Because, you know, I mean, Matt, you played against us a lot of times, but, like, you know, right. I'm trying to have a diverse offensive package. You know, some people might say it's a lot of offensive stuff, but we have a diverse package, and then we do some trickery on defense. You know, we just not give you like 1 dose of whatever. So, Serge said, you know, like, you guys don't typically. I'm thinking like, well, what is a MEAC team? I don't know. What they play like.
I don't understand what that comment means. And I coached in that league for 5 years, and there's very good coaches in that league, very good players in that league, and it's very competitive. So, yeah, I don't understand that, but, you know, like I said, I'll just leave it as let that be a lesson to all coaches. Don't say stuff like that, because it could backfire on you. And they obviously, you know, y'all had a good team, but I'm sure you took it personal also. And there you go. So, yeah. So that's what this is about. This is about education. So write that down too, in addition to the X's and O's. Don't say stuff like that.
I will say this, that Serge, you know, I'm sure he will hear this, but he supports Mar and you guys, so I'm sure he will. He is, you know, one of my good buddies, you know, and stuff like that. But it was him that had us mad. You know, it was straight up. It was him that had us mad. He should have never. And that's when Serge was just starting off, like, kind of in the business or whatever. So, like, maybe he said it. He didn't realize what he was saying, you know, and that's cool. You know, like I said, you know, that's my guy. So, and I don't think I ever even told him this story. So when he watches this podcast, this will be the first time he actually ever sees it. And it was him, man. He was the reason. He was the pregame speech. He was the pregame speech.
Yo, so you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Matt. I don't even think we need to talk anything else basketball.
Yeah.
Rob he is in, I'm not gonna call it bully mode, but he's a little charged right now.
So. We'll leave that up to him, right? He's our guest, so I know he has some, you know. So if he wants to keep going, you know, we can keep going. If he feels like, you know, he wants to leave on the high note, and not that the other stuff won't be a high note, but it's up to him. It's his show.
Oh, we keep. I mean, we could talk about whatever you want to talk about, Mark. Because basketball is basketball. We talked about basketball. A good podcast, I guess, obviously talks about other things. So we could talk about other basketball story. Whatever, or we could talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. Whatever.
I'm speechless. So,
well, why don't we do this? Why don't we let Rob? He did some defensive stuff. Let's show a little bit of offense, because again, this show is about him. So we'll do a little bit of that, and then we'll bring it back to basketball. And then that was a great story, though. That was a great story. So let's do a little bit more basketball, so we can get our composure back. Get our composure back, and then we'll see what, because Coach Jones, like you say, he's a good coach. He's a good coach on both ends of the floor. And so, so I'm interested to see the offensive stuff too, because again, this is about us learning, and we're trying to get the listeners some content that they can take back to their programs as well. So I'm interested to see the offensive stuff as well, if you don't mind, Coach.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I lost it for a second. I gotta bring it back up. I guess.
That's an understatement. That is an understatement.
No. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about I lost it for the clips. I gotta find the clips again. That's what I'm talking about. Nah, man. It was your boy Serge, man. He had us mad, man. He had us very upset, Ma.
It's all love here at Bleachers and Boards. All love.
Yeah, hold on a second. I think I got it coming up right here. Yeah, like I said, we could do like three quick.
Yeah. Just see some offensive action.
I'm about to share right now then. All right. Can you see that and hear that pretty well?
Yeah, you know what? Just the same thing again. Just turn the volume down on it, and that'll be perfect.
All right, cool.
First thing, I'm guessing you're gonna talk about some Iverson stuff, which we touched on one of our other episodes, but this is great. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to different actions that people run off the Iverson cut.
Yeah, so this is our Iverson play. All right. Obviously it's set up like a 1-4 type situation here. I'm gonna show you. This is gonna be a practice clip and like 2 game clips.
Okay.
So right now you'll see, regular Iverson. You see 14, run over Iverson cut. Number 5 running on the bottom to the corner. Regular Iverson action, except we're gonna keep 14 high right here. Reason why we're gonna keep 14 high because we're gonna set a pick and roll right here, and usually like Matt was talking about the weak side guys like the tag guy, but with him being so high and chasing the guy of the Iverson screen, it eliminates the tag guy. Right. So
I like that.
So right now, big fella rolls to the rim. Now what happens is if I know they just threw it back to my 4-man, but usually panic happens and the 4-man ends up having a tag, which leaves, if you have a shooting 4-man, wide open right there. Or if they blow the whole coverage and your big man is standing there, for a dunk, Right. So
1-4 alignment, wing, elbow, wing. You got your under, and you run it into a rollable place.
Yeah, as soon as he goes past, like while that guy's still chasing him, we're going right into the ball screen from 23. Because clearly that guy's chasing him. His head is turned, and also we will do a counter when we will throw it to the guy, number 14, so they don't know which one we're doing.
Okay.
So
now you have
so right now
everybody's out of position
right now. Yeah. And the 23 rolling. So we'll go into I think game footage next or something. But this is like from the this is like the really, like I said, practice footage from the first day that we put it in. That's why it's being really explained and taught right now. But we're about to get right into the game footage though. Coming up. Yeah. I'm just telling them right now about how the guy who's supposed to tag is being eliminated, and which causes the forward to help, which is going to leave the 4-man wide open if they do it like that. So we'll go again, just naked, just dummy the sets. So we'll go across. We spend a lot of time dummying our offense and things like that. So that's what it looks like without that. But here's some game footage now. All right, so the guy's coming off. As soon as he comes off, ball screen, roll. Now, what I told you was like the 4-man helped. See the 4-man's in the paint?
Yeah.
Right? Really, our 4-man is wide open at the top of the key, but our guard was able to, Jermaine Bishop, he was a pretty good player for us. He was able to squeeze by the forward and lay the ball up, though.
Right.
And then you have another one right here, same play. Boom. Now right here, when we see like this guy's there's no help here because he's way up, he's so high.
Yeah.
Right here. And then it's just a bounce pass for a catch and finish. By the time he runs back over from the wing, it's too late. Now, Warriors 1 is a play that we actually stole straight from the Warriors. I actually had somebody, a friend over there who sent me their playbook. I don't know if he was supposed to do it or not, but he did it. What'd you say?
Shout out to him.
Yeah, we took Warriors 1. So this is going to be a play that you're going to move all 5 guys before a ball screen. And I think that's important to try to, sometimes if you can move all 5 guys to get them out of pick and roll rotation, and then the ball screen happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it off with the 5-man at the elbow, 4-man on the bottom. We got, your 3 guards on top.
So yeah, so basically it's a 1-3-1 alignment.
Kind of, yeah. 7 to 5-man's on the elbow though.
Gotcha. Yep.
So now we got down screen right here. 4-man catches the ball. 5-man is over on the bottom. Now we have a key. Yeah, a little slice cut by the point guard. Now right here, if you have a good 4-man that can get downhill, if you notice off this slice cut, we all know that causes confusion. And then you have your 5-man already down here. So it's kind of like a dribble drive type, situation that you could make it into if your 4-man could get downhill right here. So he's going to, if we can't get anything, the point guard is going to keep going to the corner. Opposite corner, that is. And then we got like a little dribble weave here. Then another dribble weave. As that's happening, the big man is circling underneath.
Right.
And he's going to then run up. He's going to run up for a slot ball screen. Then we're going to get an exchange on the weak side. So at this point, we've shifted all 5 guys defensively so they can't just stand there in their pick and roll defense. So that's Warriors 1 right here. So we get a down screen coming up here. Slice cut, dribble handoff, right into a ball screen, exchange on the weak side.
Now, how important is that exchange that the defense on the weak side can't help?
Oh, it's extremely important because if they, if you just stand there, they can help all day. If you exchange, and even if some guy decides to stay on the exchange, someone else is going to be open. So it's the exchange is very important. Now, right here, you'll see against Southern Illinois. All right, once again, non-MEAC school, right? That you're going to see how it works. Down screen here, slice cut here, dribble handoff right into this ball screen. No one's there. Look at him, wide open.
Wow.
I don't know why he didn't dunk that. He's 6'10" for Christ's sake. But
now you run this as is this a quick hit or a set play? Because it almost looks like it could just go into sort of a motion out of some type of action like this. But is this, you just run this as a set or a quick hitter?
It is a set. That's why I'm on a call with 2 brilliant coaches, because I never thought about it being a motion, but now it probably will be.
I like this. I might be stealing this. I like this.
So then we got, slice cut, dribble handoff right into the ball screen, comes down, rolls, and he just attacks. And right now, if you notice, you see everybody's in the paint. You got 2 guys open on the perimeter from that exchange stuff. Now granted, when these kids get that deep, they're trying to rack it, so no one's looking for those 2 guys, but they're wide open. And this is the last one I'll show is horns weave. This is a little different variation out of horns, similar to what you've seen with the Iverson play. So we'll get a regular horn setup, come off the ball screen, big guy's going to roll. Same exact thing with horns, right? Now he's going to pop it to the guy at the 4-man. 4-man's going to bring it back on a dribble handoff right here. If he can get down here, he's going to get downhill, but usually it's another dribble handoff into a double drag action. Now, double drag, we're going to do like a reverse double drag. So the first guy's going to pop. The second guy's going to roll.
Okay.
So he's going to roll. Yep. Then once again, usually if you got a 4-man that can shoot, the 4-man is going to be open again on this play, and you'll see it when we do it in live action. So right now, the guy's coming off the ball screen. Regular horns, he rolls, he pops, pop it to him. We got a dribble handoff. All right, another dribble handoff. I didn't like that dribble handoff, so we're gonna do it again. Like we always say, if it's not right, it's wrong, right?
Details, that's important. Make sure
Yeah.
these guys get the details down so they execute, tight.
So we got here, then we got double drag, pop, roll, dunk. And a lot of times it happens just like that, honestly. We'll do it one more time. Well, I think we're going to do it. No, I think we might cut it. Yeah, now we got game action. Okay, so we got here, we got a roll, here, dribble handoff, okay, dribble handoff, double screen. He should have used the dribble handoff, but he does get downhill on the guy.
Nice spin.
Now we're going to do it again, same game.
So it basically starts off as a little bit of a horn look.
Yep, but now I didn't talk about this in the thing. Like, so sometimes we'll get a back door if this guy's like ball watching. You'll notice the guy's ball watching in the corner. Because once again, this is the first time we ran it. The other play was the second time we ran it, but maybe they scouted it and they think that okay, this guy will get a dribble handoff. Right here, back door, layup. So that's another play, but we're not gonna do that one. So.
That's good stuff, Coach. That's good stuff.
I like Warriors 1.
I like that. I like that too.
Golden State that gave it because I will be putting that in my package.
Yeah.
To have as a set to run at some point.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. The offensive stuff was great. I'm still a little frazzled by our previous because this is
next play, Coach. Next play.
Yeah, next play. Next play, right? Which kind of segues into what it is that we like to talk about, and for the listeners. Obviously, you can't see this, but if you watch us on our YouTube page, you will see this. Coach Rob Jones is still on one right now. He's, but this is going to go into.
It's confidence, man. Listen, if you're doing a good job, you're winning games, you should be confident.
Yes. But I kind of feel that, I don't. Now that I know this, he was actually going into something in that championship game. And, us at St. Peter's, we were up for the challenge, but we just wanted to play a game. But he had other intentions, which kind of leads to the point of his favorite or one of his favorite hip-hop groups.
Okay, yeah.
And like I said, before when we started, I knew what this was going to be. We got 2 Queens guys on here.
Yes,
and we
do.
As the Brooklyn guy. So I already knew what this was going to be. But, Rob, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about your experience with the G Unit and the members and the relationship that you have with those guys and how that has, I guess, helped you in your coaching, because clearly it has. If you're still remembering things and bringing things up that not a lot of people know about.
No, not a lot of people know about that St. Peter's game. But with G Unit, it all started in college. I was actually, in addition to playing basketball, I was in charge of the entertainment committee. So I was in charge of throwing the concerts and doing all the entertainment events at SUNY New Paltz. For the time I was there, for the last 2 years I was there. So what I said was, I was organizing all these shows and things like that, and I started seeing how much money concerts generate, and I'm like, well, when I get out of college, I might want to do this for myself. You know, like if this basketball thing doesn't take me to the highest point. You know, like I was always very logical. You know, coming from humble beginnings, my biggest thing was I didn't really care like it was the NBA or if it was whatever. Like I just said I gotta just change my surroundings. You know, so like if it's gonna be changing it through working, then I'm with that too. You know, whatever's gonna be, it's gonna change. So you know, I'm seeing all this money, the concerts and stuff like that generate. And through actually the 2 years of throwing those concerts at SUNY New Paltz, I was able to develop a lot of relationships within the industry. And I actually got an internship at Elektra Records. It's now defunct. They had merged with Atlantic Records, but Elektra had Fabulous, Missy, Tamia.
Don't mean to cut you off. So were you there? I'm guessing this is the Sylvia Rhone days.
Yes.
And for those of you that don't know, Sylvia Rhone was one of the head people of Elektra's hip hop division. I actually tried to get signed by Sylvia Rhone, but that's for another episode.
We're going deep.
Yeah. If you can see, I'm still upset about that Sylvia never called, but you know, continue on, Coach.
Yeah, so Sylvia Rhone was in charge of it. She was like the president, CEO, or whatever. I actually worked in the finance division of Elektra. The guy, the CFO of Elektra actually went to SUNY New Paltz. So the president of the school actually hooked me up with that internship. So that's how I got it.
Nice.
The first day I went there, you know, I thought I was gonna get fired, man, honestly. First day I went there, we had an orientation meeting of the interns, stuff like that. I went to him, his name was Rich Bangloff at the time. At the time, that's his name, Rich Bangloff, right? And I told him, I said, hey man, you know, can I talk to you for a second, Mr. Bangloff? And, you know, we talk about the president of the university, you know, that hooked me up and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know, I don't really want to be like one of those musical interns that's getting coffee and donuts all day. That's, you know, a lot of musical interns, that's what they do, you know, try to get their foot in the door. I said, I want to come here and I want to learn the business and stuff. And he said, sit down. And I was like, oh man, this is my first and last day, grand opening, grand closing, right? So he said, sit down. So he's like, I've never had an intern talk to me like that before. He said, so this is what I'm gonna do for you. For 40 minutes a day, I'm gonna tell you about the music business and stuff. And then they actually gave me real stuff to do. Like they gave me like when Missy was on tour, I did like some of her spreadsheets for her, like you know, financial spreadsheets, because you know I was working in the finance division. When Fabulous first came out, he asked me, he said, do you think this kid Fabulous is going to work? And, you know, once again, I was young and I listened to the DJ Clue mixtapes. I was like, yeah, he's going to work. You know, he's going to work. And then, you know, he worked, you know, and then, then Busta Rhymes was on the label too.
Fab owes you a check, by the way. So Fab owes you a check.
Yeah, he do. He do. I've done some business with Fab too, but it's like, me and Fab actually had the same lawyer at one point. So Alberto Ebanks, shout out to Alberto Ebanks in New York City.
That's my guy too. Shout out to Al.
Yeah, shout out to Al. So that, you know, that's my guy right there. But like either way, I worked with Violator too. Like when I was at school, that's what 50 Cent was under with Chris Lighty and Mike Lighty and the Lighties. Then there's like 15 Lighties that worked there and stuff, right? So Dave Lighty, all them guys was there, right? So I actually booked 50 Cent for a personal show. Not a person, but at a club that was next to the university. I had saved up my money. You know, 50 Cent at the time was $15,000 or whatever. So I had saved up. Like me and my other friends had saved up. Like, you know, he had 5, I had 5. This guy had 2, we had 3 over here. You know, so we put it all together because I knew like from doing those concerts, I was like, yo, if we do this right, we're gonna be able to generate some real money. So you know, we did a show with 50 Cent. This is right after the Jam Master Jay killing. Or whatever. So like he was canceling show after show after show. So people didn't think he was coming to our show. So we're nervous now because we just invested $15,000 when we was 21 years old, 22 years old. About 22 years old, 23 I think, actually going 23. And this is like, you know, for us to have 5 and 5 and 5,000, like man, that's like everything we had. So we was like, man, this gotta work, man. Like so, what happened was that he didn't cancel our show. He never canceled our show because our show was upstate New York. Maybe he felt like it was safer or whatever the case may be. But every show in New York City, he was canceling because of the whole Jam Master Jay thing. Wow. So he came up there and it was so crazy because people, like, the club was jam-packed, but people didn't think that some people still didn't think he was coming. Man, when the caravan pulled up with the bulletproof vest, the bulletproof armor and all that stuff like that or whatever, people are on their phones, like, you know, back then they got the Nextel Motorola flip phones, right? Like, talking to their friends, like,
chirping.
He's here, like, he's here, right? So he go in there, he kill it, you know, and whatever. And then from there, like, I just said, you know, I got another show with 50, not for myself, but for somebody else. And then I got another show, and then it went from that to like actually working with them. And I helped set up Lloyd Banks' first college tour with Violator. And then I helped set up some dates with 50. From there, like, so like I basically did like a lot of touring dates like with 50 and those guys. So you know, a lot of people ask me, they're like, hey, can you call them up and stuff like that? I'm like, yo, we wasn't homies. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. Now I know there's some coaches that stretch the truth about who they know and stuff like that. But I'm not one of those coaches that gonna stretch the truth. Like, I did work for 50 Cent. You know, I did work for G Unit. You know, I did shows with them. So at the shows, yes, you know, we would interact and stuff like that. But am I going to call Lloyd Banks up right now and say, hey, what's up, Banks? Now, Banks has been to my house in Virginia, though. He has been to when he had a show.
He's been on the couch. He's been watch a game.
He's been there before, but like 50, you know, he's never been to my house or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But you know, people think that when I said the 50 Cent stuff, they're like, oh, you know, can you get me on Power or something like that? Nah, man. I don't know. I mean, we don't, like I had my time. I had my couple years, you know, with them. I set up the shows. I got my money, you know, and they got them, you know, and that's what it was, you know, with that situation. Now, awesome. As far as the musical group, the reason why I say they was one of the most influential groups of all time, because I know that's the next. I know that's the next part. All right, is that I want you to think about this, right? 50 Cent, you know, like he came from straight like mixtapes. Like the first show that I'm talking about when I paid 50 Cent $15,000, right? He did an hour show on mixtapes. Like he had no album. Right. There was no album. Like this is November 14, 2002. You can look it up. SUNY New Paltz at the Atrium, New Paltz, New York. You can see Rob Jones did that show or whatever, right? Okay. 2003 is when In the Club came out. So he did a whole show. So like, I mean, and the power that he had, that it was like people were so captivated with him, you know, that from a mixtape, you know, or mixtapes, I should say, that people were like, packing a club and doing all types of crazy things to try to get in and stuff like that and everything like that. All right, so then we fast forward. He goes on, you know, he sets all the kind of records with his first album. Actually, his first two albums. People just try to discount the Massacre or whatever it was because of Get Rich or Die Trying, but they actually sold about the same amount, honestly. You know, they sold about 10 million each, you know, right out the gate. So that was one unheard of, you know, with artists going like Diamond. Now, we're not talking about platinum no more. We're talking about Diamond out the gate, right?
Now, then, for the listeners, if you don't mind, just explain what Diamond is, because it might be a coach on here that doesn't understand what Diamond equals a lot of records, but you tell us what that is.
Diamond equals 10 million records sold. You know, platinum is 1 million, gold is 500,000, and other than that, you're a dud. You know, really. But you know, that's what it is. You know, so. You know, he goes and he does that. But the thing that I say about it influential is because when he was on the Rock the Mic tour, everybody know the Rock the Mic tour was Jay, right? Jay is my favorite rapper, right? He was.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, he was. I give credit where credit's due. You right? He's my favorite rapper. He was so hot at the time that Jay, of course, performed last, right? And I've seen this with my own eyes, Ma. So I'm not trying to like he would perform, right? And half the stadium would leave like Jay-Z was even coming on next because like Jay didn't have like a hot album out at the time. 50 Cent was scorching, you know, and stuff. So most of the people came to see 50 Cent, you know, and then like even though it was Jay-Z's tour, you know, and then you look at like Lloyd Banks win multi-platinum on his first two, you know, albums. Then you look at a guy, Young Buck win multi-platinum, Game with multi-platinum. I mean, even I know he probably won't see it, but if he do it, I mean, it's whatever. It's like Tony Yayo is not the most talented rapper, you know, but Tony Yayo was running around doing a lot of shows because of 50 Cent. So this is why I equate it to like other groups, right? You look at Rockefeller, right? Okay. Jay-Z obviously is Jay-Z. He's out of this world. You know, he's $1 billion man, right? You can't really pinpoint a lot of other people on that label that went multi-platinum. There's people that were good. You know, Beanie Siegel was good. I mean, I think Memphis Bleak was good, but you know, some people might argue with that or whatever. But
Marlon.
You said what?
Marlon.
Okay. So you can go down the list, and none of those guys went multi-platinum. It's like Jay, and I know Fifth did a lot of things like Fifth, like the game, like that. Even with the game, like some of those songs was really 50 Cent songs, but he gave it to the game. Like Jay-Z, and some other guys maybe didn't do that for their artists. They kept them all to all the hits to themselves, and that's why Jay-Z's $1 billion man. And some of those other guys are like, working at the sneaker store now. So it's like, it's a total different thing. And then you look at other groups. You look at Wu-Tang. I love Wu-Tang too. Wu-Tang, had a crazy influence. They was from the streets, the gutter, and stuff, right? But then, you got your Meths, you got your RZAs, you got your Raekwons, you got your Ghosts, right? That actually made some noise, But the whole group, you have Master Killer's album on deck. You got you guys' last album.
Hold on.
I bought both the Master Killer's albums, but we won't even get into that.
Now, I'm gonna say two things.
Okay.
One, and I don't want to get off the topic of G, but with Wu-Tang, Inspector Deck needs to be talked about more. Just my opinion.
He's very lyrical. Very lyrical.
And for as much as I'm never going to go against him, I'll agree with you, but Master Killer could do no wrong to me because I saw him every day growing up in East New York. So that's just, but I'll continue.
Yeah.
So what I would say to that is, and what you're saying is very true, but would you say that the blueprint that Wu-Tang laid down as far as having the group success and then the individuals, because when I look at Gene Unit, I feel like they tried to do the same thing as far as they have their solo deals, but then they all work together and feature each other. So it was sort of like they used the Wu-Tang blueprint and maybe took it to another level, from the individual success standpoint. But would you say it was kind of a similar type of blueprint?
It's very similar, but almost reverse, because the solo albums came out first for G Unit. Like 50 Cent came out
that's
first.
True.
And
That's
then
true.
they did the G Unit album. Like
That's
the Wu-Tang album came out, and then they broke up and started doing the GZA and the
Right.
RZA and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say with G Unit, is that like, you guys lived through it. We all lived through it. Like,
No, they were huge.
Unit was so hot.
Huge.
Like it was like, you would set up shows and people are waiting for hours. And granted, people do that for whoever the hottest artist is, whatever. But it's like, it was like just ridiculous, man. Like, really 50 he would come back with trash bags full of money. Like, trash bags. Like, something that you could never even fathom. Like, you see all these people on social media trying to show money, all that other childish nonsense, right? But this guy used to have trash bags, like Glad bags full of money because of, the back end of the show money is usually in cash. So like, every show he went to, he's getting the back end and it's all in cash. And it's but so many pockets he's going from city to city that he's not going to the bank, so it's just trash bags and trash. Like, it's like the craziest thing that I ever seen, honestly. And, it's just a tremendous, they had a tremendous influence. And I think that a lot of times because of the way 50 did it with like a lot of, a lot of beefs that he had throughout the years, it's like people think like, oh, like the beefs kind of like, he shouldn't have so many beefs. And, maybe he shouldn't have, it's everybody's prerogative. But I think that kind of gets overshadowed by the true impact of what they had. Like, even when I see like, the whole, T.I. calling out 50 Cent, for a versus battle and stuff like that. Like, yo, you don't realize like how many songs 50 Cent really has, man. Like, he has a lot of records. And I'm not taking anything with T.I. because I think T.I. is a great artist too, But 50, like you calling him out like he's just a slouch. Like, he has like, a lot of.
He's got a lot of hits. A lot of hits.
Like, he has a lot of records, man. So I just think that like what they did like was just so big, like, and they did it so quick. Fifth went from 0 to 100 quick, with shoe deals and clothing deals and vitamin water and how many artists got their own flavor of a drink?
Yeah. Now, I'll ask this: did you own a G Unit sneaker?
Did I own a G Unit sneaker?
Did you have a pair of G Unit sneakers? The listeners want to know.
Let me say this, Ma.
Oh, it sounds like you had a pair of G Unit sneakers.
I I didn't have a pair that I actually bought.
Yeah, I knew he was going there. I knew that's what I could see.
There.
See, you didn't peep the sit back in the chair. Once he went to that, I knew that's what the answer was. Once he went to the slouch back in the chair, I knew what the answer was.
Yeah, I didn't have a pair that I actually bought. You know, I'm not gonna sit here, you know, and lie or anything like that. I didn't have a pair that I bought or anything. So, I mean, you know, I did
respect.
it. Man.
Hey, respect.
But you know, with Wu-Tang though, you know, I will say this more. A lot of people, and I know we just talking now, getting a little overpriced time stuff like that. But at the same time, Wu-Tang, Wu-Wear was one of my first jobs. I worked at Wu-Wear.
Is that right?
I worked in a factory. I actually worked in a factory, and you know, I know Wu-Wear. Huh?
Where was the factory?
Manhattan, in the
garment district. Wow, okay, I didn't know that. Right.
So I worked at Wu-Wear, and one of the things I learned about clothing was that, like, and I mean, Wu-Wear is defunct now, so I mean, it's no, like, you know, people can't get mad at me or whatever. But it's like they used to get, like, honestly, regular T-shirts that, like, I mean, like your Hanes and your Gildan and your stuff like that. I mean, boxes of that, and they used to have like six seamstress. And like their job was like, you know, like the boxes would be loaded up and they would cut off the tag and sew the Wu-Wear tag on it.
Wow.
So it was like when you got the shirt, you didn't even know that it was like really a Gildan or Discus or something like that because they cut it off and put Wu-Tang on it or whatever, right? I mean, Wu-Wear on it or whatever. This is what happens though, Mark. Let me tell you this, right? If you ever look at like a new company or whatever that might just came out of nowhere, or like a entrepreneur, right? Look under the tag. Well, like people are still doing that to this day. Like I caught somebody doing it the other day. Like I was like, oh, I know this trick. I've seen the trick 20 years ago. I know this trick. But I tell you this much, like Wu-Wear, like of course with any other clothing line, you know, a lot of it was screen printed at first before they got to the embroidery. So anytime there was like a mess up on that or a screen print, you know, like even a little smudge or whatever, you know, blah, 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 they would throw them, they would like just discard them. So the ones that wasn't too bad, I used to take home with me. I mean, the whole block had Wu-Wear, man. My mom had 15 Wu-Wear shirts. She didn't know who Method Man or none of them was. You know, so it's like everybody had Wu-Wear, you know. So that was
that's a great story.
One of my jobs, man.
That's a great story.
Yeah, man.
Oh man,
that's a great story.
Yeah, this was great stuff. Like I don't want it to end, but you know, I think we're gonna end on the Wu-Wear note.
Yeah, no, that's a throwback right there.
Yeah.
I had a couple garments. Garments back. I had a couple garments back in the day. I went away to college. I had to represent. So and Wu-Tang were my dudes. So I had a couple. I had to.
Shout out to Wu-Wear. Like I said, Wu-Wear was one of my first jobs ever. I was like 15, 16 years old, man, and they was paying me in cash. I mean, I know that was some under the table stuff. As time goes on, you figure it out, you know, right? And they was paying me in cash, man. The money wasn't late. Every Friday it was in an envelope that said Robert Jones on it, and I was cool with it. I went home, you know, didn't have to pay anybody anything. So it was great.
Oh man, that's good stuff, man. But we're gonna wrap it up with Coach Robert Jones. Rob, you know, always love talking to you, man. Appreciate you coming on the platform and, you know, giving us both sides of the game, you know, from the clipboard to the barbershop talk. And that's what this platform is for, you know, for guys to come on and have a good time. But, you know, we talk some serious stuff as well. So, you know, we won't hold you up with time. If we get a chance to play this year, please go check out the Norfolk State Spartans. They will not be playing Queens College or Rider University, so you can go support them.
No, sir.
And as always, man, good luck to you, and we thank you for the time. Matt, you got anything you want to say?
No, this was a great episode. I learned a lot. I know I'm definitely going to be rewinding this and get my court diagram on it and drawing up Warriors 1, like you said, putting it in the toolbox and trying to figure out, you know, if and when I can install that. That was good stuff. And I like the concept also on the trapping the ball screens and the thought process behind it. It made a lot of sense to me. So I know I got a lot out of the episode, and I'm sure the coaches and that watched episode will get the same. So really fortunate to have Coach Jones on, and we appreciate it. This was another great episode.
Thank you guys for having me, man. Like I said, anytime. This was cool. Like you said, definitely get the barbershop talking. It was a little different too, because recently, honestly, probably unfortunately, every Zoom or interview I've been doing has been about the social injustice and things like that. So it was kind of, there's a lot going on with that, and we still got to fight the cause. But it was good to get a breath of fresh air and not just be sad when I left the the Zoom call. So it was good.
That's not.
Appreciate it, and for all the listeners, as always, check us out on Twitter at Bleachers and Boards, and on Instagram at Bleachers and Boards, and on our YouTube page at Bleachers and Boards. For Matt Collier, this is Marlon Gill signing off for Bleachers and Boards, brought to you by the Hoop Heads Podcast. Thanks again.
All right, thanks.